You mentioned earlier in this podcast that one of the biggest sacrifices that you have to make is running this massive business at the same time as trying to be the leader in a family.
Yes.
I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest issue with modern dating? As a single guy, I would love some advice. You know, Graham, he got married a year or so
Congratulations.
ago. So he's looking to start a family.
Have as many kids as you can afford. No, have
Probably
more than,
two.
Have more than
Probably
you can
two.
afford. That's what I should say.
I'll stick with
What is wrong with modern dating?
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk shares his best dating and relationships advice on the Iced Coffee Hour podcast. He explains it all through a Christian lens and emphasizes that it is a man's responsibility to provide no matter what. For women, he talks about how they must prioritize character and purity over all else. For men, he says you must be disciplined in all aspects from self-control to intentional actions. Charlie also gets into a passionate discussion on whether or not a man should pay on the first date. Check this out.
What's the problem with women, and then I'll go to the problem with men. The problem with women is that many of them, have unrealistic expectations of the man that they want, a lot of them. And I deal with this all the time. Like, I want a guy that's earning $1 million a year and he's 6'4", and I want him to have a perfect jaw. And I'm like, yeah, that's never going to happen. How about, by the way, where on your list is like, I want someone who will be a good father or someone with good character. So that's like really disgusting, actually, that you just want someone that's like super rich and looks good. Like, why don't you want someone that's going to be loyal to you, not cheat on you? Like, oh yeah, I want that too. Oh, okay, got it. So basically you want like Ken Barbie doll, and then you'll have like all the good virtues. Notice they don't lead with the virtue. And a lot of things lead to that. But number two is women need to be very clear that we need to tell women more clearly that if you do not have children before the age of 30, there's only a 50% chance that you will have children.
That's a fact.
It's a fact. You can fact check me on that.
Isn't that, though, that women are becoming very intentional about whether or not they want to have kids, and just it's more socially acceptable, we
yes,
should
but
say.
They're miserable because of it, though. I mean, it's not just mine. You can fact check me, put the numbers up. The most depressed people in America are women without children. They're the most likely to be on antidepressants. They're the most likely to be anxious. Again, people that experience severe depression are people that say they are very unhappy are people, young single women in their early 30s without children. Who are the happiest women in America? Married women with children. I think and by the way, of course they have the agency to do that. I'm not trying to like make a law like you must get married and have kids. But I think that we've gone wrong here, that women should prioritize family and children way above career, that they should try to find their husband before they're 25. That they should try to get married way younger. This is probably the fertility
But then that
problem.
also goes back to just finances.
No, that's
you can't
huge problem.
quite
I totally agree
have
with that.
a husband going out making a salary to have a stay-at-home.
I completely agree with that. That's the best argument. It's not a winner argument, but it's the best argument. Because at some point, you go to like sub-Saharan Africa, they have like 8 kids and they live in like a dirt hut. You can figure it out. Having children, I believe, is a blessing from the Lord. It's the most amazing thing. You should try to have as many children as you can. Much more important than traveling to Thailand or having a big apartment or a bunch of cats. Okay. Having children are a gift from the Lord. So, but as far as like the dating pool problem, so young ladies, they need to be very clear about what they're expecting in a man and date with the intent to marry and not just date to, have a good time. And quite honestly, both need to do this, but young women need to do a much better job of saving themselves for marriage. They need to they need to prioritize purity again. Young men need to too, but if young women do it, then young men will.
So if that's what the women need to do in order to make themselves worthy of dating,
Yes.
What do you think is the main thing men need to do to make themselves worthy?
The most attractive quality in a young man that young women can't ever articulate is self-control.
So how does this look in application?
A woman needs to be able to know that you can control your impulses when things get really crazy. They can't articulate it, but that's what they want. So for example, they want to be able, when you go on a date, can you control your mouth? Can you control your tongue? Can you control your eye? Are you going to cheat on her? Are you going to have a wandering eye? Are you going to get drunk every night? Are you going to kind of go into like a drug, abyss? Women can't always put that into words, but that differentiates a boy from a man. A boy is someone that has no self-control.
I would argue it's confidence and ambition. And if you have those qualities, I think everything else falls into place, because you have to have self-control if you're going to be ambitious.
Sure.
To have a North Star
I
that you
totally
follow.
agree. Confidence is true. Look, again, it's just, if you look at it though, you can be very confident, ambitious. You could also then cheat on your wife like 10 years later, right? So you have to be able to control your flesh. We as men have very different problems than women, right? Different temptations. As men, we have problems controlling our flesh. That's why adultery is literally in the 10 Commandments. You had to command an entire people not to cheat on their wives. It was easy. God would not have to command us not to do it. And so when men are dating, if you want to make yourself more attractive to a woman, first of all, like demonstrate self-control. And also, women want to be taken care of. I know this is like super provocative, but like deep down, they want a man to be able to provide for them financially.
Should a man pay on the first date?
100%. Like, what kind of a wuss beta male is splitting the check? But like, who are you? Do you agree with me?
Listen, with Macy, I paid for the check.
On the first.
Yeah, on the first.
It's like, I'm just sorry. It's
Wait,
so. I would
didn't
go
you
into
hold on.
debt and
Wait,
like
what?
scrub dishes before a woman paid for
let's
it.
see
It
what's
wasn't.
this.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Let's see.
Let's
what
see.
this is.
What is this,
So,
Jack?
didn't you go on a date like years ago, like a decade ago, with this woman whose mom gave you $20 to take her to the movie theater?
Yes. Yeah, I made money on that date, actually.
Oh, so there's a good financial
No.
deal for you.
Explain
Yeah,
how you
that
made
one-
money on a date. I just
That
need-
sounds different, though. That's not what we're talking about, though.
Yeah. Her mom gave her, and by the way, this was in high school.
Okay, so this
Right,
is
yeah.
that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about like 24 years old, like serious dating, right?
That's
I split the check quite a lot.
So
quite a lot.
I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah.
mean to offend you. You guys are great. That's incomprehensible. I think that's
To me, I thought it was a great financial decision. I've just
okay.
like,
So from your prism, I totally get that, and like you have really good financial discipline. I'm sorry, like I would be so humiliated if
I'm
I
more
did-
with
no,
you
no. I
on
mean,
that.
it's like I
I
find
did
that to be
not
like the
care.
greatest beta male like
to
humiliation.
save money.
To like the idea that a woman that you're trying to court. Now, if it's like a friend thing or
as a first date, you don't even know if
it
she's
doesn't
like
matter.
the qualities
It does
are worth.
not matter. I'm sorry.
I see.
By the way, that money you save is not worth the honor that you compromise.
It is such a big deal.
It's a massive deal. I'm not trying to give it a hard
But
time.
no,
I don't know.
But
I'm
here,
sorry.
but,
I'm not
but here's the thing. No, in fairness, for your point with
Yes.
Macy, I paid for the whole first date.
well,
and
hold
we're
on. Why'd
married
you do
now.
that one though?
I think I was at that point. I was at a level where like that felt like the right choice to make. But throughout my early 20s,
Was it because
I
you
was
felt more
hyper-
serious with her or
I was also in a point where I was ready to be able to like,
financially?
yes,
Legit. I
We're-
get that.
Early
Okay.
20s, like
I still think you should.
saving $5 here and there, I would do it. I would go
Okay,
to
so
great.
you're manic with saving money.
I am.
We have Blake on my team is like you. He goes in, he'll eat like the snacks for lunch to save money here at
You know, it's funny. I brought food from home.
No, that's
today.
by the way,
And coffee from home.
frugality is a virtue.
Yeah.
So we as Christians believe that there is an order of virtues, and above frugality is honor. And so we as men must lead. We must provide. Under no circumstance ever should a man ever let a woman pay for a date, or you should
Ever?
split ever. No circumstance.
Even on the third, fourth, fifth.
What if it's
What-
the
no,
first
no,
date?
a
woman
and you're
should
just
never
not
pay
into
for
it.
anything.
Okay, well let me.
period.
Well, let me. Okay, so
what kind of world are we living in?
Well, hold on a second. I agree with you. If I'm dating a girl, I would pay for everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. However, I could see for other people that might be in a different financial position, you know, you pay for 10 dates and then she's like, you know what, I want to treat you.
Well, that's
I think
that's,
that's so
that's
sweet,
totally different. No. What we're what we're talking about is like, oh, we're gonna alternate. Like, well, once you're serious and she wants to take you out to something for a nice dinner, and you might, by the way, if you have the intent to marry, you're already like kind of blending finances. Like, I get that psychologically, but like if you're like, oh, we'll take turns. Like, oh, well, you know, you pay this time, I
So
pay this time.
What's your advice to a girl who the guy she's currently seeing, he says that?
Do not marry that man.
But here's the thing. I feel like they should always
break up.
offer.
Great.
But they should offer. They should pull out the credit card
The woman? Of course not.
just to offer.
No.
It's a nice gesture.
No. By the way, no. This is feminism. Feminism is that you have to be this like self-independent. This is not a nice gesture. It's you trying to be like egalitarian. No. You as women should want to be provided for. In fact, you should have an expectation that you as a woman are so important and so critical and so necessary and beautiful that it shouldn't even be a question that if you're in a date now, if it's a business lunch or like friend zone stuff,
Sure.
50-50. We're not talking about that, right? Like it's all of a sudden they're like, hey, I want to buy insurance or like, you know, you're going to, you know, I want to go do business. Like, it's totally different. I still think the man should pay, but that's that.
But see, to me,
When I was dating, it would be a huge turnoff if the check comes and she just looks at it and then looks at me and looks at the
I
check.
totally disagree.
I
I think-
at least want to see like I'm reaching for
No.
something and I'm like,
No,
don't worry.
I want a woman that wants to be led by a man. I don't want a woman that's all of a sudden going to be competing financially in a marriage. I don't want a woman that's going to be like, oh, you know, questioning financial decisions, or a woman that's going to be like, all of a sudden, no, the man is the leader of the household. The man is the leader of all the financial decisions. The man is the primary, should be the primary provider. Again, there's exception to this. That's all. Oh, Charlie, you're so sexist. Sorry, it worked for 2,000 years, for 5,000 years, and it should work again. And by the way, what we're doing right now is not working. Let me just repeat again. This is not working. and I'm not trying to like bash you. Like, this is fun. It's in really good
No,
spirit,
I love the
right?
banter.
No, it's great. But like this idea, if a woman on a date were to pull out a credit card to go pay for something, like I would be like, oh, so you're like one of those boss babes.
No, that's not what that's saying, though.
100% it is. Yes,
that
it
is no,
It
that
is
is completely
such a
missing.
catastrophic
I
turnoff.
I think no. I think
It
if I'm on a date and she reaches for it, like I just think, oh, that's really nice. You're trying to be kind here. You're trying to alleviate what you perceive to be a financial burden on me.
That's a
and so I said-
generous interpretation.
And so,
We're
but
bringing
obviously,
something to the table.
Yeah, and
It's
so
like,
I think
hey, I'm not
Women,
just
women
here for
are
a
not
free
bringing money
meal.
to the table. That they're bringing something else.
It's a nice gesture.
I agree with Graham. I think it's a nice gesture. However, I agree with you. I think the guy should pay.
I think the woman going into that should have an expectation that the man takes care of her.
But should she be grateful if the guy takes?
100%.
Oh, okay. Because
Oh no,
if you're
it should be immense
expecting it-
gratitude. No. The woman should be. You know what she should say? She's like, "Thank you so much for doing that and not having to put this unnecessary pressure on me because you've just freed me." That's what women want, by the way.
Freed me?
100%.
I would say to run.
No.
For like what? A number two at Red
By the way,
Robin?
do you know how many women are secretly miserable that they have to be as financially successful as men? A lot. Like a lot. It drives them insane. Deep down, a lot of women want to be mothers. They want to be wives.
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, not every woman. By the way, if you want to go be a boss babe, go do that. Like, it's a free society. There's a lot of great people to do that. But generally, we have overcorrected. Okay, we have a lot of women that deep down want to go be moms, and they would love to have their man come in and just grab the check, be like, "No, I got it." And by the way, you know what they see that as a signal? It's going to be okay. When the bullets start firing and there's chaos and things start falling apart, this man is going to protect the family. Boom.
Wallet on the table.
Wallet on the table. No, even better. No.
Paying 26% interest on
It's
that.
got to be even more alpha. You go to the waiter before the meal and you just give him the credit card. It's not even a conversation. It's paid for. It's done. Like, you don't even allow it to be a thing that is introduced there.
I would agree with that.
See?
I actually agree with that
Full
too.
alpha is like, you go straight up where you are like smooth move and the girl is so stunned and she'll be like, "Oh, don't we have to pay?" Like, "No, I got it. It's done." Boom. Are you kidding? From a woman's perspective, they'll be like, "That's the most attractive thing ever."
I would love to hear some woman's perspective in the comments here. I think they're going to be agreeing with you for the most
No,
part.
by the way, if they disagree, it's fine. But like, you'll end up with. By the way, some women want to marry weak men because they are the boss.
What other tips do you have like that? Like,
That was a good suggestion.
Oh, I have a lot of tips. So for marriage or for dating, I have
both. Let's start with dating and then move our way to marriage.
So in dating, look, I do not think you should have sex before marriage. I know that's a provocative take. I think sex is holy. And by the way, it's not just a religious take. I actually think that if you introduce sex into dating, then all of a sudden there's kind of like a dilution of what exactly will be the ultimate physical crescendo of marriage. So you can actually make a rational, reasonable, non-religious argument for that. Anyway, that's like a whole other topic that we could discuss another time, but I will defend that. I actually think bring back purity, bring back saving yourself for marriage. Okay, but other things is this. You should go on a road trip with the person you're dating. Very important. So you should find uncomfortable, high pressure travel situations. That's not just like flying first class to Aruba. And you should try to be in places of discomfort intentionally with who you are dating, and you'll find out a lot with that person. Number 3, this is going to sound incredibly sexist. I don't care. If it is a woman that you want to get married to, and she says that she wants to be a traditional wife, see if she's actually up to it. Say, "Okay, treat me, cook me a meal." I'm not kidding.
No, I
Just
think that's
leave a
like
mess. Be
No.
like,
But
"Please,
honestly, like,
sir."
she says she wants to be a traditional wife. Like, and by the way, be like, does she enjoy it? No, this is important though. Like, and then ask her. No, I'm not even just, is she a good cook? Be like, did you enjoy doing that? Like, and she like, "Oh, I loved it. I loved getting the ingredients. I loved looking at the cookbook. I love the recipe. I loved thinking about you when I was cooking the food." You're like, "Okay, this is going to be awesome." Right? Or otherwise she's like, "It was a disaster. It was this." I'm like, "Okay, well then we might have a little bit, you know." And by the way, I'm not saying that every wife has to cook every meal for her husband, but honestly, a lot of women out there want to do that. A lot of women want to provide for their man in that way. They want to run the house. They want to shepherd the kids. Going into marriage, though, I'm a big believer in premarital counseling. I think that there are several questions that are not answered when most people go into marriage that should be answered. And I might freak you out with this because I don't know if you
No,
did this.
we did this.
Yeah, no, okay, great.
I looked at every divorce statistic and we did everything
Phenomenal.
we could.
To lessen the chances of a divorce.
So yeah, money is number one, right? Who's going to handle the finances? Here's one that you might not have done that you should do while you're still in the honeymoon phase. Are you going to have an open or closed house?
I don't even know what that means.
See, it's big. So were you raised in a house where a lot of friends came over all the time? Or were you raised in a house where almost no friends came over?
A normal amount. It wasn't yet, open or closed. It was, maybe like once a week we'd have like a play date or something like that.
Do you know what kind of house your wife was raised in?
Probably about the same.
Okay, it's an important question because I was raised in a very closed house, right? I know people that are raised in open houses and it's destroyed their marriages. You know the type where they're always having people over? Yeah.
That was my family, yeah.
Okay, so you get that.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were to marry a closed house person and all of a sudden you were like, hey, we're going to constantly have a stream of people and you don't talk about that before marriage. All of a sudden you're like, it's total chaos for a closed house person because they're raised in a place where evenings are very quiet. Make sure, this is another important, make sure that you get along with each other, that you really like each other, not just love each other, that you like spending time with that person. One of my favorite words in the English language is like. It's very unique. Only the English language actually has that. Do you like spending time or do you just love that person? That's because liking is like, hey, can you talk to that person 7 hours uninterrupted on a park bench if you needed to? Or is it just kind of like an annoyance and is it just purely physical? Other questions and other pieces of advice that I think are really important. In-laws matter. They really do. They shouldn't always necessarily be deal breakers, but boy, you should know the in-laws because, your wife will take the form of the mother more times than not. So you should at least get along with your in-law, kind of know the in-law. Children, how many children? When are you going to have children? Is it a priority? Will it be early? Will it be late? Religious questions. Are we going to raise them religiously? Are we going to raise them secular? Other questions that I think are really important that actually don't always get flushed out. How many vacations are we going to take? What type of vacations? Are we an RV family? Are we go to a private, island family? Are we going to splurge on one vacation a year? Or are we going to do like 3 or 4? This is important before you get married. All of a sudden, you're kind of in the marriage thing and you're like, hey, I just booked us a vacation. Like, what? I didn't want to go. That's not because it's different philosophies of time off. Last one, which is the biggest. You want the biggest of all. What are acceptable and unacceptable vices for our marriage? For example, is it acceptable for, the husband to smoke a cigar? Has she smelled cigar before you get married? And does she know what that is? Will marijuana be allowed in the marriage? I would say no, of course. Is it okay for alcohol to be around? If yes, how often? Will you drink on weeknights? Are more than one drink acceptable? Will we drink socially? Will you drink once you have kids? Will you drink around the kids? Here's another question. Will you watch TV at night? Will you be okay if, there's R-rated kind of sexual nudity that your partner is watching? Completely off limits for your relationship? I think it absolutely should be. You should talk about that because some couples are like perfectly okay with it. I think it's kind of weird, to be honest, right? These are questions that honestly, all the time that people do not always flush out before marriage. In the course of dating though, I could go on for like infinite.
No, I really enjoy this.
Yeah, again, we have an amazing marriage. My wife and I, obviously it's not perfect. No marriage is perfect, but we actually like each other. We prioritize date night. We're actually doing it right after this tonight, which is awesome. But I find so often that people in dating don't date with the intent to marry. And when they end up wanting to marry, they don't even ask the tough questions before they get married.